In terms of the Wisbech Incinerator, it's remarkable that half the size was rejected in the local authority next door. And so the response of developers was to double the size in order to make it a national significant infrastructure programme to get out of the local planning rules, to put it 700 metres next to the biggest school in the district, to take waste from 6 different counties, all on small roads in a rural market town, and to have a chimney bigger than Needley Cathedral in the flat landscape of the Fens. So one can understand why so many people share my concern with this proposal. But I don't want to repeat the very good points that colleagues have made. What I wanted to do was highlight 2 new points which so far the debate hasn't highlighted, which I hope will help opposition members, government members, as much as support my own case in empowering the Minister. And this is firstly to cite the government's own figures. So on the 30th of December, quite recently, the government's own analysis showed that as of 2024, there was already 20.6 megatonnes of residual waste infrastructure capacity in England, of which 14.3 megatonnes is incineration. To put that into plain language, we already have enough incinerator capacity today to deal with the amount of waste projected in 2023, because in 2023, it is projected that there will be 19.4 megatonnes of projected residual ministerial waste to arise by 2023. So in other words, our existing capacity at over 20 megatonnes is more than we're going to need in just 9 years' time. So the first question to the Minister is whether DEFRA will commit to publishing analysis assessing the environmental damage of building incinerators such as the huge incinerator at Wisbech, compared to the fact that that will be surplus to requirements in as few years as 9 years' time. In other words, if it takes 3 years to build it, after 6 years of operation, it's additional capacity to what we are already going to need. So we need to assess how those 2 things compare. And of course, there are other short-term... Of course, I give way.
Thank you very much for giving way. On that point, would you agree that a geographical sense of where incinerators are around the country would be helpful to understand so that we can see where the demand for incineration is versus the capacity, and that might as well reveal that in certain parts of the country, again, there is an oversupply?
Steve Barclay.
Yeah, it's a fair point. Actually, that is addressed in the December paper from DEFRA. But as my right honourable friend, the member for Hunterdon highlighted, there's 2 at Hunterdon, another at Peterborough, there's 2 at Boston. There's already a concentration. So I don't accept the point about the East of England that was contained in that paper. But my point is, what we need to see now from DEFRA is an analysis around the bridging issue for the next few years as the government meets its legal target. It's got a target to reduce by 50% between 2019 and 2042 the amount of waste. So the amount of residual waste is coming down. We already have sufficient capacity, but there is a bridging issue. And there will be short-term options around landfill RDF exports, and we need to look at the respective merits of building huge incinerators and the damage they will do compared to those short-term bridging options. The second thing that pertains to that, the second point in the very little time I've got, is the fact that the waste mix has changed. And this was a feature of the BBC report that the member for Birmingham South highlighted. So burning things like food waste produces less CO2 than putting it in landfill. But burning plastics produces 175 times more carbon dioxide than burying it. Now, the reason that matters to my first point in terms of bridging is because the mix going to incineration has fundamentally changed from when the planning rules were initially put in place. So what we've seen and what the BBC highlighted is an increase in food waste being dealt with through anaerobic digestion. So as the member for Islington pointed out, the predominant waste now going to incineration is plastics. It is the burning of plastics that is then driving the environmental damage, and why the member for Derby South correctly pointed out that it is the dirtiest way the UK generates power. So the second ask I have is whether the Minister will commit to undertaking a composition analysis study of the residual waste treated energy recovery facilities. Now, I asked for this in a written question on the 16th of October. DEFRA have confirmed they are undertaking a composition analysis study. but it wasn't published with the December analysis. So can the Minister commit to publishing that so we can see the waste going? Because, again, that fundamentally changes the environmental case around incineration.